Here's the cargo glider CG-4A. It's 48 feet long. Its wing spread is 84 feet. It can carry 15 men, 13 soldiers, a pilot and co-pilot. The nose is a window for the pilots. Also, it opens to form a doorway for loading equipment. This is the cargo compartment inside. You're looking forward toward the nose. The pilot's seat is on the left in the nose and the co-pilot's on the right. Left and right in the glider are your left and right when you're facing the nose like this. Here's the same cargo compartment looking back toward the tail. The seats you see on each side are removable. When they're out, you can load anything in here from a clip of cartridges to a quarter-ton truck. Directly behind the cargo compartment is the tail fuselage. There's no floor back here. The tail's job is to keep the glider in balance. In the cargo compartment where the steel tubing on each side meets the floor are tie-down rings to which you lash equipment. This is number 1, nearest the front. Next is number 2. Then 3, 4, 5, 6. The same goes for the glider's left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Remember these tie-downs by number. 1 to 6 on the right, and 1 to 6 on the left. There's another tie-down at the rear of the cargo compartment. It's the base of the V formed by the steel tubing. This is called the rear tie-down. The front tie-down is in the nose between the pilot and co-pilot seats. It is at the base of the V formed by these steel tubings. Since it's part of the nose fuselage, it goes up when the nose is raised. Built into the glider are 3 cables used to help lash equipment. One of them is here at the front tie-down point. The other 2 cables are fastened at the number 5 tie-downs on the left and right. You use these 3 cables when you lash the quarter-ton truck. Now let's learn something about opening that nose. If your job is inside, enter the glider through one of the personnel doors. If you're assigned outside, take your position at the nose. Inside, go to the nose latch release lever in front. Press down the knob, push the lever forward. Then go back to the nose lock above the door on the right. Outside, lift the nose. This slacks the lifting cable. Take up that slack by sliding the nose lock back while the nose is being raised. Slide the nose lock back as far as it will go and call out, "Nose locked." For safety, fasten the automatic nose lifting device to the steel tubing and say, "Safety on." To lower the nose, take position. Notice the center man. Raise the nose slightly. Inside, take off the safety. Go to the nose lock. Nose unlocked. Push the lock until it's 4 inches from the end of the rod. This stops the nose before it closes all the way. Next, push the nose lock all the way forward. Change grip. Raise the nose slightly, let it down. Now latch the nose shut from the inside. Pull back the nose latch release lever. This is the center man who backed into the glider while the nose was being lowered. Now fasten the nose shut on each side. To do that, engage the 2 parts of the nose latch. Push them forward together until they catch in place. In order to load heavy equipment, the tail must be raised until the front of the glider rests against the ground. To raise the tail, use the hand grips on each side marked lift. Go to these grips. The tail props you use are homemade from a piece of pipe and 2 pieces of 2x4. Chalk or sandbag both wheels to make sure that the glider can't roll back or forth. Now hold one of the 2x4 props on each side of the glider with the base toward the rear. Pass the pipe carefully through the front set of hand grips. Fit the props over the pipe. Get a good grip on the tail and raise upward together. The props swing into place. Set them at a slight angle toward the rear and the tails firmly supported. Here's an important point. At least one of you stays back here to study the props in case a sudden gust of wind hits the tail fin. There's plenty of surface here for the wind to act against, so don't leave the tail up any longer than you have to. To lower the tail, here's what you do. Take your position. On command, lower tail, lower it gently. Never kick the props out. Let them slide back until the tail wheels rest on the ground. Remove the props and the pipe from the hand grips. Take the props along with you. You may need them when you land. Once you know how to lower and raise the nose and tail, you're ready to load equipment. Let's start with the quarter-ton trailer. First, place the trailer so that the lunette points toward the nose of the glider. Lift the body of the trailer. Wedge 2 wooden blocks between the axle and the rubber shock absorbers to keep the trailer from bouncing on its springs during flight. Raise the tail and lift the nose. Fasten the safety. Now get lashings ready at the rear tie-down point and at both of the number 6 tie-down rings. Lower the ramps and remove the 2 front banks of seats. Get lashings ready at tie-downs 1, 2, and 3 on each side. The 2 men who took out the seats tie the ropes at number 1. Prepare 9 lashings altogether, 3 at the rear and 3 on each side. Now roll the trailer up the ramps and into the cargo compartment. Place a board under the trailer stud to reinforce the floor at that point. Set the handbrake on the trailer. At the front of the glider, complete the lashings from the number 1 tie-downs to the spring shackles of the trailer. Carry the ropes back through the tie-down rings. The knots you use, you already know. The 2 half hitches at the tie-down ring, the slippery half hitch to hold the lashing, and the Baker bowline. When the 2 front lashings are completed, raise the ramps, take your positions, and lower the nose. Inside, pull the nose release lever all the way back, then fasten the latches on both sides. Now, lowering the nose hasn't changed the trailer's position, but watch what happens when the tail is lowered. As the tail goes down, the trailer inside the glider shifts back of its own weight. This helps to tighten the front lashings. When the tail's lowered, bring in the tail props and put them on top of the trailer. Then complete all lashings. At the rear, take the ropes from number 6 tie-downs and thread the free ends through the lunette. These 2 lashings hold the trailer back and keep the lunette from shifting sideways. The rope from the rear tie-down goes up at an angle and pulls down on the lunette. Take a good look at these lashings at the rear. They all go to the lunette. There's one from the rear tie-down and one from each of the number 6 tie-downs. At the same time the rear lashings are made, take the ropes from tie-downs 2 and 3 on both sides. Pass them across the trailer and around the tail props. These lashings hold the tail props and the trailer. Use the Baker bowline in one rope and thread the rope directly opposite through the loop of the bowline. Pull the lashings tight to hold the body of the trailer down. When the trailer's all lashed and ready to go, put on your parachute harness, take your seats, and you're ready to go too. Now for the quarter-ton truck. It's the largest piece of equipment you'll normally take in the CG-4A. The first steps in loading are the same as those you saw for the trailer. After you've raised the glider's tail, open the nose. To make room for the truck, take out all 4 banks of seats. Put them out of the way. Get the ropes you brought along with you to lash the truck in the glider. Prepare lashings at the number 6 tie-downs, and at the rear tie-down point, and at the number 5 tie-downs. This makes 5 lashings altogether at the rear of the cargo compartment. In front, get lashings ready at both number 1 tie-downs. Check the cable at the front tie-down in the nose. If the cable is missing or broken, use a rope at this point. If you're the driver, first lower and latch the windshield. Lower the rear vision mirror down against the body. Shift into 4-wheel drive, low transfer, and start the motor. When you get the signal from the glider leader, back carefully into the cargo compartment. Those 2 men assigned at the nose stand ready in case the truck should jar loose the nose lock. Back into the cargo compartment until the wheels touch the chocks put down by the glider leader. Then set the handbrake and turn off the engine. Leave the truck in gear. Now lash the truck this way. First, complete the lashings from the number 1 tie-downs to the front bumper supports. These lashings prevent movement in 3 directions: upward, backward, and sideward. You have more room to work if you finish these lashings while the nose is still up. When the lashings are tight, raise the ramps and lower the nose. When you've got the nose down and latched, fasten the cable from the front tie-down around the bumper. Compress the front springs of the truck while you do this. Then recheck the front lashings. At the same time, outside, lower the tail. Because the truck inside acts like a counterbalance, you have to pull to get the tail down. Take the tail props along with you. Put the pipe and props on top of the truck for lashing. Now, fasten the automatic nose lifting and locking device to the trailer hitch on the truck. If there's a turnbuckle on the device in your glider, tighten it up. Next, take care of the rear lashings. They go from the number 6 tie-downs under and over the rear axle, between the axle and the brake fluid tube. On landing, the greatest force is forward, and it's these 2 ropes around the rear axle that take most of the strain. The lashings from the rear tie-down go to the trailer hitch. The method of lashing is the same. Pass the rope back and around the rear tie-down. Make the bowline, pull the lashing tight, and hold it in place with the slippery half hitch. Now, while 2 of you in the truck compress the springs, 2 more of you lash the body down in that position by fastening the ropes from the number 5 tie-downs on each side to the top bow pivot brackets. Fasten the cables from number 5 tie-downs to the lifting handles of the truck. Take up the slack by wrapping the cable around the handle. Clamp the cable in place. Be sure the turnbuckle below the clamp is turned up all the way so it won't strip out in flight. Now, let's review the completed job. First, the cable from the front tie-down fastened around the front bumper. Lashings on each side from number 1 tie-down rings to the front bumper supports. Ropes and cables from number 5 to each rear corner. Lashings from the number 6 tie-downs go around the rear axle. The one from the rear tie-down point goes up at an angle and through the trailer hitch on the truck. The automatic nose lifting and locking device is also fastened to the trailer hitch. While we're on that gadget, let's see how it works. Imagine that you've just landed. The glider's come to a full stop and you're getting ready to unload. Inside, you're taking all lashings off the truck front and rear. You're ready to raise the tail. This time, 2 of you can do it easily because of the weight of the truck bearing down in front. As the truck is driven forward, it pulls the cable on the automatic lifting device and raises the nose. The nose lock slides all the way back and locks. The device is automatically released from the trailer hitch and the truck keeps right on going. Now for the 75mm pack howitzer. Here's how it's loaded and lashed. First, open the nose. Fasten the safety to the steel tubing. Lower the ramps and take out both front banks of seats. Prepare 3 lashings at the rear. You'll see the use for that board in a minute. Prepare lashings at both number 3 tie-downs and at tie-downs 2 and 1 on each side. Remember, 3 ropes at the rear and 3 on each side. When all 9 lashings are prepared, the cargo compartment's ready for the howitzer. Take your positions at the gun. Roll the piece all the way into the cargo compartment. Now you see what that board's for, to distribute the weight of the spade and keep it from cutting into the floor. To lash the howitzer, start at the number 1 tie-down rings. Pass the rope under and over the axle of the piece, inside the front trail. Thread the free end back through the tie-down ring. Put in the Baker bowline. Use the pulley action of the bowline to tighten the lashing and finish off with the slippery half hitch. Make a similar lashing from the other number 1 tie down around the axle. When the front lashings are finished and tight, lower the nose and latch it shut. Then lower the tail. As you lower the tail, the howitzer shifts back and helps to tighten those front lashings, just as the trailer tightened its front lashings. Chock both wheels, back and front. The ropes from number 2 tie downs go through the front top sleigh handle of the howitzer. At the rear, 2 more of you bring in the tail props and lash them to the gun trails. Elevate the muzzle to tighten the sleigh handle lashings. The lashings from number 3 tie downs go to the breech lifting ring. Remember, you're all working together. While 2 of you lash the props to the trails and handle the rear lashings, 2 others of your crew take care of side lashings. Ropes from number 6 tie downs go to the 4th lightning hole in the rear trail. The number 3 lashings are pulled tight. And so are the lashings from number 6 tie downs. Now complete the lashing from the rear tie down point through and around the lunette. The glider leader inspects the finished job. All 9 lashings act together to hold that gun down so it'll ride like a part of the glider. Use tie-down rings 1, 2, and 3 on each side. Lashings from number 1 tie-downs hold around the axle. Number 2 lashings go to the top sleigh handle. From number 3 tie-downs, lashings go up to the breech lifting ring. Both wheels are chocked, rear and front. Tail props are lashed to the trails. Ropes from number 6 tie-downs hold fast through the 4th lightning hole of the rear trail on each side. From the rear tie-down, the lashing goes through and around the lunette. After you learn to load the howitzer alone, you'll load howitzer and ammunition together. Ammunition is carried in the forward part of the cargo compartment under the gun barrel. At least 27 rounds go with the gun. Additional ammunition is carried in other gliders. The clover leaves are stacked on top of 2 ropes, which you put in place to hold them. Bring up the ropes and lay them across the pile like this. Next, take your positions and lower the nose. If you're the inside man, latch the nose shut. Then go to work on lashing the ammunition. You need a board and 2 more coils of rope. You'll see why in a minute. Thread the 2 ropes that run under the ammunition around the steel tubing behind the pilot and co-pilot seats. Put a Baker bowline in each rope. Pull the lashings tight and the whole load of ammunition moves forward against the front tubing. The ropes bind the clover leaves together and hold them so they can't move forward or back. To hold the load down, take those 2 extra ropes and lash them diagonally across the ammunition from the number 2 tie-down on each side to the number 1 tie-down on the other side. The board on top of the pile is forced down and holds the load secure. When the job is finished, you have ammunition bound together and held down, the howitzer lashed and chocked so it can't move, and room on those rear seats for the gun crew. The 37mm anti-tank gun is loaded and lashed just about the same way as the howitzer. It's a lighter weapon than the howitzer and requires only 7 lashings instead of 9. There are 3 at the rear, but only 2 on each side and front. The ammunition is carried in front under the gun barrel. 5 boxes holding 20 rounds each are lashed together to travel with the gun. By now, you know that being a glider soldier means more than just stepping into a glider and going up. Not only are you airborne, but your equipment has got to be airborne too. Your jeep, your trailer, your artillery, and whatever equipment and supplies you'll need when you land, you take with you by air. You may take off in broad daylight, or you may get orders to load in the dark at night. You may make a routine training flight over a friendly airfield, or you may take off for a mission deep inside enemy country. But whatever the situation, this part of your job is the same: to act with precision and speed, to be ready on time, to load your equipment correctly, and to lash it down safe and secure so it will ride like a part of the glider.